Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB, or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You can even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 94248. Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Vale Jewelry Workshops. Vale Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or even phone them at 07789 794248. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Rhys Deans of Creative Space Podcast, and I am your host truly once again on Creative Space Podcast. How is everyone doing today? On this particular episode, we have none other than the musical star woman herself, Grace McLean. Now, Grace McLean is a singer, she's a musical theatre actress, she's been in Bad Cinderella, she's been in many musicals, and she's written so many musicals herself, and she's been there and done that, and hopefully she's got more in the future because she is such a delight. What a woman, and I really enjoy speaking to her, so I don't want to elongate this introduction any longer than it should be. But without further ado, it's me and Grace McLean on Creative Space Podcast. Grace McLean on Creative Space Podcast. How are you?
I'm good. It's a wonderful Monday morning. How are you?
Oh, do you know what? It's Monday afternoon here in Wales, and I'm doing really well. I've just come off doing a one-man play, and I'm tired.
Oh my gosh, were you at Edinburgh?
No, it was in Edinburgh. It was in Cardiff. It was a play that I had written, which I think I mentioned it before on this podcast. It's something that I've written, and it's something that it was a bit of a passion project of mine, and we performed it upstairs in a local pub somewhere in the capital of Cardiff.
Cool.
So only did it for 3 to 4 days. I'd love to do Edinburgh one day. But it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always ask this question straight off the cut anyway, is why did you want to get into musical theatre? What was the moment that really attracted you to the stage?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I really thought of myself as a serious actor. I didn't think I was going to do musicals. I thought I was just going to do like the Greeks and Shakespeare and serious stuff. Because I didn't think of myself as I knew I liked to sing. I went to a performing arts high school, and the like acting program was the musical theater program, so there was a singing component. But I just didn't like sound like everybody else, and I was like, that's okay. And I was kind of doing my own thing. And even when I went to, that's interesting. When I was in high school, I came to NYU, had a summer high school program, and there were two different studios you could go to. You could either do the musical theater studio or you could do the Lee Strasberg acting studio. And I went to the Lee Strasberg acting studio. But there was like at the end of the summer program, there was a little like performance component and people would do scenes or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to sing a song though, just because I like to sing and it's different and I want to be a little different. So I sang a song, and the musical theater people were like, you should do musical theater. And I was like, okay, maybe. And then when I auditioned for NYU to go to come for college, I said, well, maybe I should think about that, just because I like singing. I just like to do it. So then I went to the musical theater program, but I only stayed there for 2 years because I didn't want to just do that. And then I left and I went to the classical studio where I did Shakespeare for a year. And then I left that and I went to the experimental theater wing where I studied experimental theater. And then I graduated, and then then I had to figure out how to survive in New York City, but that's another story. So it all, it sort of happened because I just liked singing. I liked performing, I liked acting. I didn't know about putting those two things together until, I don't know, it was reflected back to me. It was like, well, people said that's interesting. Why don't you try that? And the thing is that you're a little bit different has followed me everywhere. As I said in high school, I was like, I don't really sound like everybody else, so maybe I'm not going to do musical theater. At musical theater school, people were like, Grace, you need to try to sound like everybody else. And I was like, I don't want to. Which was part of the reason I left after 2 years to go do other things, because I didn't want to. And, I'll say the voice teachers that I had early on, like my first actual voice teachers were not, it wasn't like a traditional sort of classical or musical theater sense. They were jazz voice teachers. So my way into singing was a little bit different than I think most people have. However, I really learned about storytelling from them in a way that I still carry with me. The first voice teacher that I had was in high school in Southern California. Her name is Carmen Bradford. She's a jazz singer, and she would never let me sing a song the same way twice. I mean, like in the middle of doing it. Like, so with a jazz song, you get the song and you sort of like go through it once, and then you're going to go through it 5 more times. It just keeps repeating, right? And so the first time you do it, you can sing what's on the page. She's like, that's fine. And then after that, she was like, you have to improvise. You have to make it different. You can sing the words, you can not sing the words. You can make it up, you can scat. Find something different. Which was, developed within me a sense of play, musical play. And then when I came to New York, I studied with Carmen's mother, Melba Joyce, who was also a jazz singer. And Melba would not let me sing a song until I could first just speak the words and basically like make her cry. She was like, if I'm not crying, if I'm not moved, if I don't see that you understand what this is about, you can't even begin to sing it, which was also an amazing storytelling tool to just like, to really know what, and to know personally for yourself what the song is about, and to be able to affect.
Yeah. You saying that as well, it just reminded me, I was watching, some time ago, I was watching a video clip of Philip Quast. I think that's how you say it. Philip Quast was talking, that I always call him the original Javert, even though he probably wasn't the Javert, but I think he was one of the best Javerts. And he was talking about how to address a song, because you're obviously telling a story, and how there's that character. And he goes, how can I, and it was just the way he went through how to word just one line of just this one paragraph of lyrics, and how to phrase it, and I was thinking, Bloody hell! How it's like everyone should just go and listen to this man for about 7 minutes, and how it just the way you said it then, it sounded exactly the same as what how he did it, and I don't know, it just popped into my head for some reason. I just thought I had to share that with you.
Yeah.
So, what was the difference though between the mother and the daughter then? What was their
Well, Carmen, the daughter, she was like music first, music first. She always had an accompanist with me who was an amazing jazz player. I think he was like a student at USC at the time because she taught at USC. And she was just like, bring in a bunch of songs. We're just going to sing them and we're just going to play around. And Melba was like one song at a time, really slow, the mother. She wanted to get really granular with a sort of like emotional understanding. And Carmen was like, yeah. Play. So I think the two of those things together, are complementary to really be able to understand emotionally, of course, what it is that you're singing and saying and doing. But then to also know and become familiar with and develop your own voice and your own way of interpretation and your own sense of play. Now, in musical theater, of course, you got to sing the notes that are there. They don't take too kindly to you making it up. But if you're a writer and you're like, I actually want to write my own things, then all right, that sense of play really comes in. I'm also a writer is the thing I'm talking about.
I was going to say, because you did In the Green, you wrote In the Green, you did your own lyrics, you did your own score.
Oh yeah.
Was it your own score or was that?
Oh yeah, it's all me.
Yeah. So how was that process then when you did your own musical?
So hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah, writing musicals is really hard, my friends. But I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I wrote the weird thing that I wanted to write. I'm so glad that I was able to surround myself with collaborators who supported and questioned and helped me find the clearest way of telling the sort of bizarre story that I wanted to tell. Yeah.
So you said as well when you were, because you wanted to be a proper thespian, you wanted to be like a straight up wrestler, to be taken seriously because you learned the Greek plays, you learned Shakespearean. Was there any play that really stood out for you that made you wanted to be taken seriously as an actor, a serious thespian?
Oh, sure. I remember doing something from Antigone when I was in high school. And there was something about like, this woman is speaking her mind and she is sad. And everyone's gotta look at her, feel her frickin' feelings, and tell everybody what the heck is wrong. You know, she's just a real powerful lady. I thought that's pretty cool. And this was before I didn't think of myself as a writer at all. I mean, I think I'm just articulating this now, but I think there's something significant in that, significant in encountering a female character who is loud and brash and angry. And I don't think I knew how much I needed to see that reflected in the world as a teenager. I don't think I would have been able to articulate that that's what it was, but like I'm articulating it now. Yeah.
Do you have anything planned for the future in terms of performing straight plays anyway, you know, just non-musical plays that you...
Someone wants to cast me in a play, that'd be great. I tend to keep getting cast in the musicals. Now listen, we got some jobs. Maybe I have them, maybe I don't. That's not to say, that's to say things haven't been cast yet that I've auditioned for. So I can't say. But what I can say is the things that I have done so far professionally and the things that I know I have coming up professionally, they all musicals, my friend. They all got the music, which is great. I love working on new musicals. That's what I do. Apparently that's what I do.
It's probably you can tell the difference. One of the questions I got down on here is what's the difference between Broadway and off-Broadway? And normally a lot of people say, well, off-Broadway is the below. You get the big stages of Broadway, you get the its own mainstream, if you will. But I wanted to know from your perspective, because you did a bit of both,
Yeah.
is what is the difference? What is the two difference? Is it because of the obvious that there's the big stages, then there's the medium and small stages? What is it? What are those differences?
The difference is people's perception, my friend. There's no difference. The work is the same. The work you do on a Broadway show, the work you do on an off-Broadway show, as an actor, as a performer, you're doing the same work. Those Broadway theaters, they're bigger houses. They have more seats. The things that get produced there, I'm not a producer, so I do not understand how they make the decisions that they make about what they want to move to Broadway and what they don't. I mean, that's just about like, because the perception of Broadway is like the pinnacle of theater in the US anyway. That's what the normies believe, right? The non-theater people, they're like, I got to go to New York and I got to go to a Broadway show. So that's where I'm going to spend my money. That's where I'm going to go see something that's like a bucket list thing that I got to do. Off-Broadway, yeah, there's maybe some more experimental stuff happening. There's maybe some more not necessarily trying to please the masses, trying to please the tourists who don't necessarily have a relationship, an ongoing relationship with theater. Maybe some of them do. But, some of the more ambitious kind of boundary pushing work happens off Broadway. Really exciting stuff happens off Broadway. I love it.
Yeah, I just finished watching. I've just finished reading the autobiography of Harvey Fierstein, who I'm one of the biggest fans, and even he, when he wrote the Torch trilogy, it all came from somewhere. Before Broadway, there was always the off Broadway of those three plays merged into one. And there's a lot of I've noticed it as well recently, not just on Broadway itself, but on the West End. There's a lot of actors that do encourage theatre goers to go and watch off West End, off Broadway shows, because that's where the future is. That's where, because all these mainstream musicals, we all love to go and watch, I don't know, The Lion King or Phantom and all these big musicals. And maybe I can't think of a play at the top of my head, because they seem to be the one that's coming and going fluidly. But there's got to be the future somewhere, and off Broadway and off West End are there. And would you say the same? Would you encourage people to say, go and watch an off West End or go and watch an off Broadway show, because that's where?
Absolutely. And also that's where a lot of Broadway shows will start. They'll start off Broadway if it seems to be like big, and then it'll move to Broadway. That's where you try some things out. That's where you're probably going to see maybe the wilder version of the thing that then makes it to Broadway. Yeah, that's where the real fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It was my Emily was my fiance. Emily was she was telling me last night, I think it was, after I just did the play, my own play, and she said, would you consider this an off West End? And I was like, yeah, probably. Just one more off and then we'll get closer, then don't worry.
That's right. Keep knocking those offs and then you'll get
there. I was looking up I wanted you to elaborate on this. It was really intriguing to me, because obviously being a writer, and I just wanted to know from your experience from this. But you were named one of Lincoln Centre's writers in residence, which meant that you were given access or free reign to the office space, etc., and had the materials. What is that anyway? Educate me on that experience. What?
Oh, it's really, you said it, my friend. I mean, it's basically like, it's a vote of confidence. That institution says, this person, we are supporting this person. And the way that they support this person is they give us space. I get to use their name and say I'm a Lincoln Center writer in residence. That's what that means. And, that's really useful. Having a space to go and work that's like, I don't have an office space, I have my house. But I think it's useful to be able to go somewhere else, to go to an institution that's dedicated to the thing that you're involved in. and work there. Like it gives a little bit of a different feeling about, okay, I'm going to work, I'm clocking in, I'm making this thing. It's a focusing element. That's what it is. Yeah.
What's your go-to space then if you wanted to be creative, wanted to write? Is there a specific room, area?
Well, it's hard with music because you need to have something musical. Um, so I have my little living room space. I've got my piano set up in there, and I'll set up my computer and the things I need to work with. Yeah, that's when I'm working at home, and then that becomes a sort of sacred space. I usually light a little candle. I have a Hildegard von Bingen candle. My show In the Green was about a 12th century German mystic Saint Hildegard von Bingen. I have a Hildegard candle that I'll light while I'm working, just to call on the creative saints and say hello, please. Visit me, muse. But I will say, getting involved with like writing retreats, institutions that you apply for where you can go away and work. Oh, love it. I love a retreat space. So useful. A lot of them will give you like a couple days, a week, maybe 2 weeks. I went to the McDowell colony, and they've dropped the colony, McDowell, in New Hampshire a couple years ago, and I was there for 3 weeks. And most of these retreat spaces they're not in a city. They're in like a rural place, maybe attached to a farm. There's a lot of trees. They give you a writing space. They provide you meals. They let you work. And you don't have the outside pressures of like, I got to do my laundry. I mean, you should do your laundry, but you're like, I got to do my laundry. I got to call this person. I got to, engage with my partner. I got to go to my friend's birthday party, whatever. You don't have any of that. And there's something about like going away from the place that and that's familiar to you, and just having a focused space that is also a supported and supportive space. It's lovely. I highly recommend finding any. Then there's so many around. There's so many different retreats all over the frickin' world.
You got a favorite musical? Just a little fun question. A favorite musical?
I love Chicago. Not the movie. Only the stage play. I think the movie is wrong. Because that show works as a piece of theater. That is the medium that show is meant for. Those characters are one-dimensional characters, and they're meant to be, because they're saying something larger about the people in the audience and the way that you are watching it. You, the audience, are implicated in watching these people. It's so freaking brilliant. But you can't have that in a film. You can't have a one-dimensional character, which is why they had to make this whole like fantasy suite. I think it's fine. They translated it into a different medium in order to make it work for that medium, which is good. That's not the way it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be a theater piece. I love it.
And it kind of makes sense as well, because it is focused. I mean, the industry that Chicago is focused on is the stage, and everyone wants to be a star. And so it's supposed to be fitting with that environment. Do you think that all musicals are mainly targeted for a specific environment? Like you said about Chicago, that it's mainly fitted for the stage. It can't be for film, because
if you're not making it for the stage, what are you doing? If you're going to make it for film, then make it for film, and use that medium to tell your story. If you're not using the medium that you're working in, well, I don't know, what are you doing?
What do you think is probably taking us off context, but what do you think films, whether Hollywood films, independent films, what do you think films are getting wrong with musicals, or some films getting wrong?
I don't know. Like, give me an example. What do you think?
Funny enough, I was talking about this with a friend of mine called Harry Herneman. Hi, Harry. So we were having a chat. I don't think he remembers this, but we were talking about Dear Evan Hansen, and how Dear Evan Hansen was not well receptive in film. It wasn't well receptive in the film, but obviously it was well receptive on the stage musical. Then there was we talked about The Greatest Showman, how there was a big uh cult following because the critics didn't like it, etc. And now they're pushing for the stage. There was like someone said La La Land, even though that's not come from stage to film or whatever, but it seems to me that they're trying to bring it from film to stage. And he was saying there were some musicals that can work so brilliantly on stage, you can't captivate it on film because it's not engaging enough. There's that barrier of you just close off the fourth wall completely because who's like Chicago because with Chicago you bring the entire audience in with you pull them all in because of the environment it's in and everything. The environment is set, and like you said about Chicago, in the film, it didn't have that because it was made for the purpose of being on the big screen. See what I'm coming from with this? I could be rambling on.
No, what I'm going to say is, I'm sorry to say, I didn't see the Dear Evan Hansen movie. I didn't see Greatest Showman, so I cannot really engage with that.
Thank God for that.
Ah!
Thank God for that.
Okay, maybe I'll just skip it. Yeah.
I'd rather speak to someone who has not seen The Greatest Showman than I mean, it's not one of my favorites. No disrespect to Hugh Jackman, no disrespect to any. I mean, they don't know me, so I'm not going to really be. Maybe one day, 10 years down the line, Hugh Jackman go, Reese, what's this? And I'd be like, I don't know. I didn't know you then, but I don't know. There was something about because ironically, La La Land and The Greatest Showman were written by the two same musicians and composers. But there was something about The Greatest Showman for me that just didn't really sit right. I don't know what it was, and I just thought I look back and I think it's so overrated. It's not going to be one of those films where I could just go, "Ooh, I'm going to pick up the DVD and watch it again." It wasn't just one of those. I just get so tired and bored of the songs so easily. I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to know. Really don't want to know."
Wow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's nothing against the people that do love it, because at the end of the day, some people may not like Chicago, and that's fine. But I'm just not a great big fan of The Great Showman.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's important to engage with all different kinds of art, especially stuff that you don't like, because it helps you articulate what it is that you do like. And again, like it's subjective. People are gonna like, people not gonna like it. Something that I did remember that I saw was the Les Mis movie. No, I didn't. Not for me. Too many close-ups. So freaking close on everybody crying. I went to that movie with a box of tissues. Like, okay, I'm ready to cry. Didn't reach me. Didn't reach me one bit. Yeah, I feel like for me, it just, because in cinema, you have to get so close. But musicals are so big that, and this is, I feel like this when I have to audition for musicals on my phone, you know, when it's not an in-person audition, I hate it because you look insane. You're like, musicals and theater, they're huge. And when you put that on a film, whoa, you just see like, oh, this is unnatural, which is right for theater. Theater is not a natural thing. And it's supernatural, which is so beautiful and fun. Film is like small, real, little, subtle. Musicals are not that.
Yeah, I feel like the same with La La Land. It's I've always said I love La La Land. I love the music and everything, but I did turn around and say to a lot of people, and I say it now on the podcast, if you took away the songs, it would be one fantastic, independent, artistic film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's one of those artistic films that just happens to have music in it. It feels like someone has just gone. It feels like Damien Chazelle, who I do think is a brilliant filmmaker, but it just feels like he's gone from an artistic point of view of let's let me have this artistic integrity of redefining musicals and jazz.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, listen, I saw that once, and honestly, I mostly remember please forgive me, there were musical sequences before that last big long like dance number. There were other things besides that happens at the end, like that fantasy sequence that he has.
Yeah.
Other moments, there were a few. Yeah. Okay. Whoops. Yeah. I mean, what I kind of remember thinking about that is that worked well for that medium, because it felt like we were still in a filmic world, but then there was like a little bit of a heightened fantasy thing happening, and then we went back to that. I'm not excited to see that on stage. Maybe someone will do it in a way that will feel exciting, but it feels like, yeah, if you're gonna like talk about redefining musicals, I would say like specifically movie musicals. That felt like a movie musical. Doesn't feel like a stage musical to me. It felt like a movie that had musical elements, right?
Yeah. Because the whole thing about musicals as well is it's got to be over the top. It's got to be razzle dazzle. It's got to be, not saying it's got to be, but it's got to have that oomph. Because you want people to be I mean, when I go to the theater, I want to be like that. That adrenaline rush goes through you because, bam, you're clinched, you're hooked on. Whereas, like La La Land, it was just very, let's take you on this subtle journey. And it's like, no, musicals are meant to make me feel, I got to go on this big adrenaline rush. I got to be journey through. That's why, I mean, when I think of musicals, I think of Phantom. I think of the da, 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 because it's loud, it's brash, and it's like I'm doing our proper orchestra, like, there you go, take it now. You're going on a ride. And that's why theater's so unique, but films will never ever be able to capture that. And I mean, I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. I said, would it be funny if his last film was a musical? That would be funny.
That would be. I like that. I hope he does it. That sounds wild. I would love to see what Quentin Tarantino would do with a musical.
Oh, that'd be good. I mean, he would do it. I mean, just because he's retiring for film, it doesn't mean he's retiring from in general. He wants to go into theater. He wants to go, and he's writing books.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he does in theater. I mean, he's such a cinephile that it makes you wonder what he knows about theater. It's a different medium.
Yeah, because it
requires different skills.
Because what do you make it? Did you ever watch West Side Story, Spielberg's version of West Side Story? What did you think of it?
I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the book. It, was very slick and pretty, but also effective. I mean, it's such an opera.
Yeah.
And it felt operatic to me. I had a great time.
Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB. Or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You can even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 94248. Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Veil Jewelry Workshops. Veil Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.veiljewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@veiljewelryworkshops.co.uk or even phone them at 07789 794248. Do you feel like it was very passionate as well? Do you think it had that passionate drive? Do you think, because it was every time I watched interviews that Steven Spielberg did when he's talking, because when people first heard that Steven Spielberg was going to do a musical film, everyone just turned around and went, well, Spielberg, the man behind Jaws, the man behind Jurassic Park, the man behind E.T. and Close Encounters and Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, this man's going to go in, dap into musicals? Wow. And I just thought, he's going to do it somewhere, and it's got to be that passion somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it felt, I feel like he makes films about epic things, and that's an epic story. That felt like the right musical for him to do if he's going to do a musical.
Speaking of, obviously, Broadway, and speaking of Phantom, I think it was going to come along, talk about Bad Cinderella. Now, I've not seen Bad Cinderella.
Oh, really? You didn't see it?
No, I've not seen it. Well, the thing is, because I'm from Wales. I'm based in Barry. It's like 7 miles away from Cardiff, and obviously there's no way near. I mean, I if you were to take a car to London, where I am, it'd be about 4 or 5 hour drive. And it's expensive as well. It's so expensive to go to the West End and the Broadway, etc. And I just never got the chance to see it. But for you to do Bad Cinderella on Broadway, what was that like for you? Tell us the story of how you got involved and how you became part of this show.
I auditioned for it.
You auditioned for it?
Heck yeah. Everybody auditioned for it. No one's offering me a job. I'm not at that point. That's not true. That's not true. Depends on the job. A Broadway job, no one's just offering me a Broadway job. And I didn't know any of those people involved. You know, a lot of people that I work with, I've maybe worked with at least one of them before, and almost all the projects that I have like coming up and that I'm working on, I had known somebody. I didn't know anybody. So I get an audition. So I go in. I knew I had the job for a long time because they kept pushing back the start date. We were supposed to start rehearsals in August of 22, but then that got pushed back to December. But I knew I had the job in like February of 22, so I just knew that was coming up. I was super surprised. I just didn't think I was an Andrew Lloyd Webber person. Like, I didn't think that team of people would. I'm just like, I'm weird. People put me in the weird things because I am a little bit like, but that energy seems to work for this project. Like, I was one of the first people cast, which is cool because they were like, her, put her in. Super surprised to me. Super duper surprised to be a part of a new Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. Never would I have thought that that's where I would have ended up. I have to tell you, I had a great time. I had a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of controversy around it. Without saying too much about myself, like, I was going through something really hard personally at the time, and that was a life raft for me. That was a really fun project to be working on because I just got to be stupid, and it felt so good to be stupid and not be doing Antigone at a time when like other stuff was really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grateful for it. Yeah.
Did you audition in front of Andrew Lloyd Webber as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I hear stories that when they're doing musicals, they don't normally have the person who's made the musicals sit on the panel. I've heard a lot of that. Whether I
Well,
mean,
they might not be there till the final audition. He wasn't there in my first couple of auditions. He was there in my final callback. Yeah.
was that intimidating?
Sure, I guess, but I have to tell you, like, I tend to get the job when I'm like, I'm not getting this, which was my whole attitude the whole time of that. I was like, you know what? This is something fun to work on. I'm going to go in there. Hey, Andrew. I didn't go in there with the like, oh my God, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I hope that you like me. I hope that I get... That wasn't... I was just like, well, I'm going to be kind of dumb. And I'm going to make some choices that I think are fun. If you like them, great. If not, that's cool. And I got to tell you, that's the secret to auditioning. That's the secret. He's not the scariest person I've been in front of in an audition room either, I'm going to tell you. I mean, just in terms of like, oh my God, you know, you're an icon. Cool to be in a room with an icon, but it wasn't about him in that moment. It was about me giving my audition.
Yeah. Do you think then the key to whenever you're doing an audition, whether it's professional or amateur, is listen, don't take it seriously, just enjoy the moment because you just don't know when it could change or when it...
I'd say take seriously enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
Take that seriously. Take yourself seriously. And also, what I try to do is find a way in which I'm going to have fun. That it's about me showing the room, like, here's a way that I like to work. And that's honestly what people want to see. They're just like, who are you? How do you work? What is your personality? Okay, cool. Going in thinking like, I hope I'm working in a way that you work or that you like. Like, that's not, there's so much that's out of your hands. There really is. And like being good is a small part of it. That you want to be good at your job, but also they want to be like, are you the right age? Are you the right height? Do you have the right hair color? How do you match with this other person that we want? Which is out of your hands. It's not personal. So the best thing for you to do is say like, all right, here is a couple of minutes of me getting to perform my little one-person show.
I'll tell you I'll tell you a story, right? And I was in university a couple of years ago, and I was casting a play that I just written off the cuff, and I wanted to put it on. And as we were doing auditions for this play, this one person came in, and there was me and two of my friends who had just been cast in this play. There's going to be four men in it. Two of them have already been cast, and one of them comes in and he's reading the lines and everything. And from the description of the character I've written, it wasn't sort of the ideal with the looks and everything. But that's what my friends were saying. And I was just looking at him going, he's got it. And I went, yeah, you got it. No problem. I'll see you next week. Here's the script. And then two of my friends went, yeah, but he isn't got it. And I just turned and I went, I don't care about the looks. He could do the part. And if you could do the part, that's all I really care about. I don't care about looks. I went, we're all ugly enough. Let's get on with it. And I just walked off. And I was such a... And the following week, when my friend Adam came up to me, went, that is such a... he went, that was such a... He calls it, when he says narcissistic, he calls it narky. He went, that's such a narky thing you did there, Reese. And I went, I don't care. We're just here to have fun. This ain't Broadway yet. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. And my grandfather have always said though is that, oh, I miss it when people were cast for their ability, not for their looks. And I'm thinking, you're 74 years old. You love John Wayne. What are you talking about? John Wayne was cast for being John Wayne. And my grandfather turned around and went, yeah, but John Wayne was good. He was really good. And I was like, fair enough. Fair enough. So what would you say is so far is the highlight of your career so far? What is the one? Have you ever looked back and gone, oh yeah, that was not not like the number one thing, but it's a highlight for me.
Oh, Natasha Peer and the Great Comet of 1812, no doubt. That show changed my life. I was getting ready to leave the city and stop trying to be a performer when I got cast in that show. So that means a lot to me. Yeah.
So that was a what if moment. What if?
Yeah.
So what was that decision then? Was it based on Dave? Is Dave Malloy? If am I saying it? Was it just based on Dave Malloy's decision to go, Grace McLean, I want you to play this part?
Oh, I auditioned for it.
So
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah, so I had been in this was in 2012. I had been in New York for 10 years at that point, including being in college. I was like, I didn't have representation. Even after doing that show for a year, I didn't have representation. But anyway, I didn't have representation. I had been doing like one cool project a year. I'd started writing songs for my band, but I was looking around being like, this place is so expensive. It's so hard to live here. I'm not really doing the thing I thought I came here to do. I'm just going to do something else. And I felt really good about that decision. This was in the end of 2012. And I was like, all right, in a year, I'm going to be in school somewhere. Didn't quite know for what, but I was like, I'm going to go get a master's. I'm going to do something. I'm going to go back to school. I like studying. I like learning things. And I was trying to figure out what that might be. At the end of 2012 is when I saw there was a production, the first production of Natasha Peer and the Great Comet of 1812 at Ars Nova, which is a small theater, very cool, off-Broadway theater company that I had a relationship with my music for a couple years. Anyway, I went to go see that production. Small theater. I went on the last night. I didn't have a ticket. I went early because I was like, I'll get on off the wait list line. It'll be no problem. The line, I got there an hour early. The line was like 20 people deep already. There was no way I was getting in. I happened to know the first two people in line. They didn't know each other. They were both like, just come, you can be our +1 if we get in. The three of us got in. No one else on the standby wait list got in. I saw the show. I thought it was beautiful. Crying. Vodka. They gave you free vodka at the time when you went to see the show. It was smart. And then I was like, okay, great. That was so fun. I'm going to think about how I'm going to get out of here. And then in January of 2013, like 2 months later, the people at Ars Nova were like, this show is moving off Broadway. We've got producers. We're going to make a space. Will you come in and audition? And I was like, I don't do this anymore. I've just decided that. But I loved that show so much. I'd love to just go in the room and like audition with a little song on my freaking ukulele that I wrote and just be like, hey, Rachel Chavkin, Dave Malloy, I loved this show. And for some reason I kept getting called back and I kept being like, well, I'm not getting this, but I can't say no to there. And then somehow I got it. And the thing is, they invited everybody from that original company to do the Off-Broadway. And there was one woman who was like, actually, I'm going to take this other job in Chicago. That's the part I got. And then I was with that show for years and years. It was a real pivotal moment because I really was about to be like, no, thank you. But I loved that show. I couldn't believe I got to be a part of it. It was so magical, so special. And it like started my professional career.
Last question for you, Grace McLean. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I really, really appreciate you finding the time.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. And thank you for moving the time so many times.
The question I've always asked people, and it goes without saying, I've always asked this one is, how do you look back on your career, but so far?
How do I look back on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really proud. I'm really grateful that I get to play dress up for a living and I get to tell stories. And I feel like at this point, I know what the highs feel like. I know what the lows feel like. And I also know that this career doesn't mean everything. That's a really, really good thing to have learned because, man, for a long time, it's especially in New York where it's such a concentrated place and everything is moving fast and everyone is moving towards something and everyone is trying to achieve something. It feels like it means everything, but boy, it doesn't. And that's a really good thing to know. There's a lot of other beautiful, wonderful stuff in the world besides any career, but even a performing career, which is really fun and gets you to go a lot of places and do a lot of things and meet a lot of people. And also, I like tending to my garden, and calling my mom. That's it.
Are you looking for the perfect bracelet for a loved one? Would your man be interested in a personalized keyring from his children? Are you looking for the best priced jewelry, whether it be a necklace, ring, earrings, bangle, or even more? Look no further than Crafted Arts. Crafted Arts is a local business based in Barry within the Vale of Glamorgan, and they have a range of all the perfect items you need. If it's for the perfect gift for an anniversary, or maybe it's for someone's birthday, maybe something for Christmas, or you wanted to give someone that perfect gift that will last a long time, Crafted Arts is the business for you. If you want to know more or see what they have in stock, then you can visit them locally at 29 High Street, Barry, Vale of Glamorgan, CF627EB, or you can go onto their website at www.craftedarts.co.uk. You could even email them at info@craftedarts.co.uk, or maybe just give them a call at 07789 94248. Trust me, it's worth it for the perfect gift. The best thing about Creative Space is that we don't just want to encourage people in being creative in TV, film, or even theatre. We also want you to be creative in a variety of other things as well. So do you want to have experience in making jewelry? Do you want to pick up a hobby but do not know what to take or where to start? Then look no further than the Vale Jewelry Workshops. Vale Jewelry Workshops provides the best experience in teaching you how to make the best sterling silver jewelry. They will help you make a range of silverware, including rings, bracelets, and many more pieces. You will learn the basic silversmith skills such as soldering, texturing, shaping, and lots more. Not only do the workshops provide the experience for adults, it also provides the best experience and fun for children as well. So if you want to learn on how to make sterling silver jewelry, and if you're very interested, go onto their website at www.valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or get in touch with them via email at info@valejewelryworkshops.co.uk or even phone them at 07789 794248.